recording with this. All right, so today is the 6th and it's day 7. That's confusing. So we're almost halfway done with the class, halfway through. So on the worksheet, number 20 was this. Is it even going to fit? 1 minus 5x plus 5. Lots of distributing practice in this one. Negative 8x minus 2. Then after I go over some questions that people have, we're going to do a warm-up kind of thing, like just checking if certain numbers are solutions to equations. Just doing specifically the check. Make sure I copied that right. Negative 8x minus 2, negative 4. Yes. Okay. Okay, so this is from the worksheet, multi-step worksheet, problem 20. So I was saying yesterday that a lot of people can do equations in their head to a certain extent, and then they start to have to write them down. And some people maybe never have to, but most mortals have to eventually write them down and show their work, not for their teacher's sake, but just for to keep their thoughts organized. So that happened to me when I was a student. Might have happened to you before. You might never have done your work in your head. That's okay too. Everybody's different. So minus 40x minus 10. So remember, the first step is to remove parentheses, usually. So we talked about that yesterday too. Then I'm going to double check my distributing. That times 1 times negative 5 goes positive, times negative 8 goes to negative. That's negative 10. There. Then I might as well, we want to combine like terms on each side. So this is negative 12x. And I didn't get to talk a whole lot about combining like terms yesterday. So since on the left side of the equal sign, those both have an x attached to them, so we can combine them to negative 15x. And then this is a constant and a constant term. They have no variable with them. So that would be minus 15. Now it's starting to look almost like a 2 or a 3-step. But that beginning, yeah, can be daunting, huh? For sure. Now let's see what we can do. Well, we might as well add 15x to both sides. We could have added 12x to both sides also. We want to get the x's together. Never a good idea getting your x's together. No, I'm just kidding. But in algebra, yes, we get the x's together. These are going to zero out. So negative 15 equals a negative 12 and a positive 15. And now we're golden. Like the song. Isn't there a song called Golden? The hairstyle song. That's us. We're golden here. It's nice. It comes out okay. And then we will definitely check this one. I mean, we could check on the worksheet because it comes with the answers. In fact, let's do that, because showing the check for this one would take another whole page. Yep, that's right. X equals negative 5. You can write it that way. And it's fine, whichever way you write it. It's good for us, actually, to get used to seeing the X on the left and the X on the right. Back to more lame jokes about X's, huh? Good job. Okay. All right, so that was a good startup question. Let me put up, since Valerie asked for more multi-steps, let me put up a couple more multi-steps that aren't quite that brutal. Just because we'll do more today too, but just because you're just getting into it, like what if you just woke up? I'm still on East Coast time, so I'm waking up like crazy early, but it's not, I don't usually. So on the multi-step worksheet, there was also this one. So we'll do this one. And then if anyone else is coming up with questions you want me to do, specific ones, just let me know. So we'll do that one, and then 10, because it has another distribute going on. And some negative signs. So number 6, what?
This is done. I'm driving home right now. Can I get back on in like 15 minutes?
Yep, it's fine. Thanks, Dawn. Thanks for saying hi.
Thank you. See you in a bit.
Oh, Hannah, not foot, 4. That's what I was trying to say. I hate that autocorrect when I send a message to a student. You really got to watch out for that. Okay, this one I like because it makes us combine like terms. So we always check that on each side of the equal sign. If you can combine like terms first, go for it, because it'll make your life easier in the long run. And then let's say if I didn't know, if I'm one of those people that always puts the variable on the left, which I used to be one of those people, and that's nothing wrong with that. That zeroes out. And this is 1p minus 8p. So just be careful when you end up with a negative. Add 1 to both sides. And I'll just continue on over here. Negative 7p. That zeroes out. Equals negative 7. Divide both sides by what's with the variable. Remember what I've said, because sometimes I'm repetitive, I know that, but just in case someone wasn't here or wasn't paying attention or had to run to the kitchen or something while we are going over stuff, just to remind you that if you show your work in a slightly different way, because some teacher in high school or middle school or a different college teacher taught you a different way, that's fine. You don't have to do it exactly like me. Like this whole equation you could have solved differently than me, but you'll still get the same answer. P equals 1. Okay. And now that one, let me just review. That'd be easier to show the check. Put 1 in wherever you see a P. Question mark. 5 times 1 plus 3 times 1 minus 8. 1 minus 1 is 0. 5 plus 3 minus 8 equals 0. So it checks. So if I ever ask you to show the check, I didn't ask on today's quiz though, but maybe the next quiz I will. But if I ask you to show the check, just show it somewhere on the page and label it so you know what it is. Any question about that one, number 6? Now, some of these on the multi-step equations, some of them have no solution and some have infinite solutions and that kind of stuff that I was going to teach today. So if you went ahead and did this one and got to the no solution ones, if you haven't seen those before, that would feel weird too. So don't worry, I'll teach that today as if it's brand new to everyone. But let's go through this one. Do I have room for that one? I'm going to go to the next page. 12 equals, what number was that one? 10. Okay. And then I'll do number 4 because that was just requested. I love that. If people come in with problems that they had, it's a great way to start up class. I always start up my classes that way. I mean, ever since I was like 23. So usually, I mean, we're in a classroom and people bring them in and sometimes they'll even write them on the board. And then we all talk through it. Negative times a negative is positive for both of them. Does everyone follow that step so far? Just give me you can give me an emoji or a thumbs up or something as I'm going along, and I'll check. You don't have to have your camera on. I mean, you can, because your beautiful face could see. Great. And if you're not following, you could always put up, like, let me see if I have this, a horrified face or something like that. But hopefully not. I wonder if that even showed up. Let me put it here too. Or you can send me private messages too, because sometimes people are like, I'm sorry, I'm rambling on for a second, but I'm just reminding you that in algebra class with adults, most of you are adults. Here, this face, if you put that one on there, or this one, these ones, then I'll know something's wrong. But with adults, a lot of people have baggage, especially around math and around reading and writing. Those are the ones that seem to have the most baggage. And so I just don't, you might want to just tell me privately if you're struggling. Sometimes people don't tell me, like I've told you guys before. I've had students that didn't tell me till like halfway through the semester that they were struggling with something, which is okay. I should be cluing in and be able to tell that. But if I miss it, that's not your fault, right? It's my fault as a professional. So this is okay. You can have 0 over here. 0 is a real number. Divide both sides by what's with x, like usual. And I end up with x equals 0 divided by 24, which is okay. That's 0. That's a valid solution. And it would work in the check if you put it in right here. We'd have 12 equals -4 times 0 minus 3. Yep, -4 times -3 equals 12, so that works. All right, so number 4. I rambled on a little bit there, so I'll keep going. Yes, exactly. Exactly, Hannah. If the 0 had been on the bottom, then it would be no solution, or you could also say undefined if that had happened. Good question. I'll give you a point for that too. And I'm also giving points to the people who asked me to show some problems. I appreciate that. That's how I know what I could pinpoint what's going on. So here's number 4 from that same worksheet. Remember, it was an optional worksheet. If anyone didn't get to do it yet or look at it, you still can anytime this week, really, or weekend if you want to practice some. It comes with the answers, but just try the problems without checking the answer till you're done. That's a good way to sort of give yourself some practice, without a low stress practice. If you have relatives that want to do some algebra, if you have kids that are already bored or have summer vacation, be like, here's some algebra to do. I tutor my friends, well, she's like my niece. I tutor my niece's son in the summer. He's always like, he's in 10th grade. He lives in near Phoenix. Oh, Mom, he says, don't make me do more math with Jenny. No, he doesn't actually. He says he likes it. I think he's just being polite to his elders. So look at this one. You get 6 times a equals 0. And then remember, don't be thrown off by that. Anything times anything that if it ends up to equal 0, one of them must be 0. So A is going to have to be 0. But we can look at it algebraically by divide both sides by what's with A, just that usual, the usual MO protocol, still end up with A equals 0. And let's look at the original equation. I'm going to show the check over here like some students do, which is, it's a very nice, just want to model what I do if I have a whole whiteboard in the classroom. I put the check off to the side. And you have probably, some of you have done this before. If A is 0, I'm just going to plug it in there wherever there's an A. And then simplify. 5 equals 0 plus 5. 5 equals 5. Like that. So that might be familiar to you. I love that when people show the check that way, but I've been trying to say you don't have to do it so carefully every single time. If you just want to throw it in there on a whiteboard and check in the A spots and see if it makes sense like that. But that's a kind of a weird one, huh? Now I have some message for chats to look at. Just a second. Oh no, I wanted to send someone a smiley face, but now I'm in the horrified faces. There we go. All right. Okay. Let's see. All right, so I'm going to back up the truck a little. Those are pretty hard ones. We'll do more hard ones today though. And go into the warm-up that I was planning on, which is, it's fine. I don't care when we get into the warm-up. We're already warmed up now, right? But this is a specific topic that was from chapter 2. Verify solutions, which is the same as checking a solution or an answer. For this equation, they'll give you a problem like this. It's already set up. Is x equal 5 a solution? So let's say we have 3x minus 7 equals 23. So they'll give you an equation that can be solved, but they're not asking you to solve it. I mean, but some people do. I've watched people, they're like, why can't I just solve it and tell you which is the solution? And yeah, that's fine. But what they're trying to get us to do here in chapter 2, which is before they're officially teaching equations, is just substitute that in and check. So we're just going to check it. Did someone start saying something? I'm sorry if I talked over you. So we're going to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves. Just kidding. 15 minus 8, because these multiply first. I mean, minus 7 equals 8. Thinking ahead of myself today. So I put question mark equals, and then at the end, no, not a solution. And that's how we usually write it, not a solution. You could write the whole thing. X equals 5 is not a solution, but what is the solution to that one? Who figured it out already? I bet someone did. You could just say it out loud if you want.
10.
Good job. Who was that?
Tommy.
Tommy, thank you. Excellent. Alrighty, so let's just practice a few I'm gonna pull them up from the textbook problems in chapter 2. Here they are. Is the given value a solution? So I'm in the textbook on page 98, and we're going to do 85. And then we'll do 87. And while you're thinking about this, I'll talk about solutions to linear equations. And how about a harder one? 5x plus 2 equals 3 times the quantity x plus 10. And the options are x equals 14 and x equals negative 10. This is messy, I apologize. I fix that. X equals 14. Sometimes they might both be solutions. Sometimes neither is a solution. Sometimes just one is a solution. So it depends on the equation. All of these ones are going to have one solution. So if you pick the right solution first, then you can toss the other ones without doing any work. But what they hope for us to do, and if I'm looking at your paper, if I ever assign it on a paper, is to plug in or substitute that value in for x and check to see if it comes out with a true equation. And like I was just saying, you know how to solve equations. Most of you are already solving ones like these this week. So you know how to solve it and see which is the answer also. So that's another way to do it. But what they're asking us really in here is to substitute or plug it in and verify, see if it's true. So let me give you the numbers to these. This is 85. This was 87. If you're sending me answers, just so you could keep them organized in your notes. And that was number 90. While you're doing that, I'm going to pause the recording for a minute. This one is a solution. Like I said before, though, sometimes neither are the solution, and I'll try to trick you with that. So don't fall into that trap. And then for 90, it was 14, wasn't it? Let's see, this is going to be 5x plus 2 equals 3x plus 30. So 2x equals 28. Yep, that one was 14. So that's the solution, and that's not. Does anyone have questions about any of those ones? I will write down all your extra credit at the break. I was making that little poll. Remember, I was saying I wanted to give a poll before we have the break. So I'll do that pretty soon. But so anyway, that's a good warm-up activity, just verifying solutions, checking solutions, just like we would check our answers. And before we get into, I think we'll do story problems right after the break, and then we'll have the quiz. So it's a pretty short class because I'm leaving time for you to do your quiz during class. But the very important, and there's some fraction problems we're going to do right now too. Some more equations that have fractions involved. But the weirdest situations in equation solving is sometimes there's no solution for an equation. For example, if someone asks you to solve 4x plus 7 equals 4x. In fact, there was one like that on one of those worksheets. And someone already figured it out and sent it in. So good job to you. You know who you are. Pat yourself on the back. Anyway, like I was saying before, and I'm not asking you to do this yet, but what these really are is this is a line, kind of like here. That's the equation of a line on the left. And this is also a line. In this case, it's going to be parallel to it. And these ones are never going to meet. So the solution is the point where they meet, if we think of it graphically. And you can already, and I'll show you how. I'll show you how to do that this week. You can go into Desmos. It's free. It's a graphing software for free. And it's an app for phones too. You can go in there and graph this. And then on the second graph this. And it'll show you your two lines. So if you like thinking about it this way, like where are they going to cross at? What does x equal where they cross? That's what we're wondering if we think about it in a graph. But once in a while, there are two lines that are never going to meet. Actually, I drew this poorly. So like the way I have them slanted, they aren't exactly parallel. They will eventually meet. So that's not the best drawing. But anyway, that's the idea. But algebraically, let's look at what happens. So I should be a little more specific. The point where they meet, the x coordinate of the point where they meet. That's what the answer would be, right? But so this one, let's say I'm going through my regular algebra steps. I want to get the x's together. Remember, like I said before, it's the only time when we want to do that. 7 equals 0. The x's, we lost the x. Lost the x, it's gone. It's zeroed out. So that's unsettling. So anybody who's doing an equation sometimes gets a little panicky when that happens. But never fear. Then we look at it's called a statement in math. 7 equals 0. That's not false. False. We end up with a false statement. So that tells me there is no solution to this equation. No solution in the whole wide world, not in the real number system anyway. So there's two situations. Sometimes you lose the x and it's no solution. Sometimes you lose the x and they're actually secretly the same line. But let's do one more that's going to end up to be no solution, just so you can get the feel for it. One that's harder. So this one is in the textbook on page 111, and it's number 21. So this will give us some practice with all that distributing from earlier. 6 times 3 plus x plus 2 times 3x plus 5. They'll disguise it. So when they make up the problems, they'll make them so they look like a legit problem. It looks fine. Make sure I copied it right. I'm just making sure. Looks like a real regular problem. It is one. And we can't tell right off that they're parallel lines. So we go on and just go ahead through to the algebra. So go do this along with me. Distribute. And if you need to make the rainbow, go for it. I'm a big fan of the rainbow. 2 times 3x. Oh, here's the secret question for today. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. This will be a 5-point extra credit for you guys who are here too. Da, 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 da. Lakota word for rainbow. Rainbow. This I do not remember actually. That's why I just was about to say, I don't remember that one, but there, let's put that in. That's our secret question. If anyone's watching the video, they could send me that answer. And I'll know they watched at least up to 48 minutes in, Okay, that's optional though. Let's carry on. Sorry, I interrupted my train of thought here. See, there it goes. Now we're combining like terms and those zero out. Negative 18 plus 10. So again, we lost the variable, whatever variable it is. In this case, it was the x. We got a false statement. That's not true. So there exists no solution for this equation. And that's the answer. So in WebAssign, they'll tell you what to put. I think it might be NS or no sol. They tell you though, they're really clear about it. So it's not. Sometimes people on paper, they'll do this. They'll do NS. They do does not exist. They learn different symbols in different math classes that they do. But I'm happy if you just say no solution. Does anyone have a question about that one? Because it's a little bit weird. I have to cough. Okay, so very similar is the other thing that can happen where you get infinite solutions. Or you might have learned infinitely many if you've learned this before. And that's if the two sides of the equation are secretly the same line. I'm really struggling with spelling today. I'm not sure why. There we go. So if we've got, well, I've got to pick one from the book because these are hard for me to make up. Here's number 18 on that same page 111. 4 times quantity z minus 2 equals 2 times 2z minus 4. So me, when I was a student, I hated these. I really liked getting into the groove, getting used to using the steps in the algorithm and checking my answer, to use the steps, the algorithm, check my answer. I could handle all different kinds of equations coming at me. But here these are just sitting there like a little snake in the grass, just mixed in with all the other problems. You don't know when they're coming, and suddenly you lose your variable. And to me, it used to make me feel like, kind of take my breath away for a second, like, did I space out and forget something? And I had to go back. So I don't know if, I'm sure everybody's not the same weird as me, but just in case that does happen to you, don't let it rattle you. So usually your equations are going to have one answer. These ones in this chapter, almost always they have one answer. But sometimes these two weird cases come up, infinitely many solutions. So it's similar to what happened on the last screens. So we're here distributing. And that's when a person might start to question themselves, like, did I distribute right? Did I copy it down right? Like, I always ask myself all those things. This is my job. Like, I do this a lot. I teach, I put them up on the board. Sometimes if I'm not being careful, I won't copy it down right accidentally. So I have to fix it. So then still we go through our usual steps to get the z's together, the variables, and they zeroed out. So we lost our variable, but this time we end up with a true statement. It is true that -8 equals -8. And so that's when we would say infinite solutions. Meaning, like, I could say z equals 1, z equals 5, z equals -100. Try those in there and see, they'll all work. Any number you pick will work if you substitute it in for both of the z's. So like if I had picked z equals 1 is going to give us a negative. That's kind of a pain. Let's do this one. If we had put in z equals 5, 4 times, I'll just check it. 5 minus 2 equals 2 times 10 minus 4. 12 equals 12. That's true. See, so that one works. Try another number. Any number in the whole wide world is going to work. 17.46 would work. So that's what happens when they're the same line laying on top of itself, just the same line in disguise. So they're out of disguise here. Right here we can see, if we know what we're looking for, right here we could see, oh, they were the same line. They were the same thing exactly on both sides of the equation. So that's going to have infinite solutions. But in this level at the beginning, it's hard to tell off the top of your head. Like, yeah, they look different. I don't know. Yeah, so sometimes that'll happen. I'm going to find one more that has infinite solutions. Oh, here's one more that's a little, thank you for the rainbow answers coming in. I think maybe I never knew that word now that people are telling me what it is. Thank you very much. So here's another one that's going to be infinitely many solutions. I'm just telling you right there at the get-go, just so you could start to see the difference between these two situations. This is from back in section 3.1, the easier equations that we did yesterday. We haven't done the 3.2 equations yet today. So maybe I'll answer my own question about the midterm, but we'll see. So in this one, if I have to show my work and solve this, let's say I want to get my 5s together, my constants, do that first. That's okay, you can. End up with -3x equals -3x. I didn't lose my x yet, but if I add 3x to both sides, I'll end up with 0 equals 0. So now I lost the variable. Got a true statement. It's a kind of a boring statement, but it's true. 0 equals 0. So it's going to be infinitely many solutions. And again, what that means is x could equal 7, x could equal 1, x could equal -2. Any of those would work. Like I just picked that out of my head. If x was -2, let's just see what we'd have. 5 minus 6 equals 5 minus, I forgot my negative sign. I'm trying to go too fast. 5 minus 3 times -2 equal question mark 5 minus 3 times -2. So that's 5 plus 6. equals 11. And that checks out. So you'll end up with different numbers, like 7 equals 7, 8 equals 8 at the end, but it's true, it checks. So that's just, I'm just making a note somewhere that that's a special case that could happen. If you're doing a problem and you end up with a fraction answer, we'll do some after the break, but we want to reduce fraction answers. Keep them as fractions. Solutions to lowest terms. Like, it would not be wrong to say v equals 12/18. That's not wrong, but it's not like as cleaned up as it can get. So we would reduce it, divide 6 into both of those and leave it that way. This is correct. I would never give someone a 0 for putting that as their answer. It's correct. It's just not all the way reduced. Anybody have any questions about those? I'm pulling up a couple story problems to do before the break. Don't be alarmed. Do I want that one? I'm going to do this one. Okay. There we go. These are from the textbook. Well, it's my book, so it has the answer. I could scribble that out, but I'm not going to. Because I don't really care if you see the answer. We're going to get the answer anyway. So in these problems, I talked about this a little bit yesterday at the end, and we'll do some more today. We want to like thin it out and like get through the weeds and just get the important stuff and make sure we have the right operations going and we can solve the equation. Quite a few of my students over the years just can do these in their head without algebra, which is a great, powerful superpower. It's a great skill. So don't feel bad if you're one of those. In fact, sometimes when I was a student, I'd do it in my head and then the teacher wanted to see the work. So I'd like try to make up the work or try to work backwards from the answer so it looked like I had done the algebra. Like I was just a sneaky algebra student. Maybe that's why I ended up being a teacher. I don't know. But in this one, I'm going to change it, go back to the whiteboard with this. We're going to do 55 and 56 together right now. And then we'll take a break. Okay. So I'm going to put it on the whiteboard, but I'm writing down right now, and you can too, the important information. So tickets are $10 each for the main floor seats, $8 each for the balcony seats. There are 400 seats altogether. Oh no, there's 400 on the main floor and they're sold out. And the total revenue is 5,200. This problem I think ends up to be a little bit confusing to me. How many balcony seats were sold? So I'm writing down the important things. And then I'm doing that for 56 also. And I'm encouraging you all to do that too. The car repair ones are really silly, but maybe we'll do one of those. I don't know. I mean, car repair, they put it on the bill. If you go to a mechanic that charges money, like not a relative, you put it right on the bill. So it's not like you'd be trying to figure out how long, whatever. Anyway, so 56, the tickets for a drumline competition cost $5 at the gate and $3 in advance. At the gate, they sold 800 tickets, but the total revenue is 5,500. How many advance tickets are sold? What's confusing is we're talking about number of tickets and amount of money. So don't let it confuse you. I always tell people, just think about it in real life. Like if you were at a concert and that was the case, or amusement park or a fair or wherever. I wish that it was only $5 now, huh? But just the more you kind of, that's one of the problem solving strategies also, is make it into a simpler problem. Make it into a problem. Oh, I almost forgot to write down how many advance tickets were sold. That was their question. How many balconies and tickets were sold? Okay. Making it into a simpler problem is one of the best problem solving strategies for anything. Like if it's a love life problem, if it's a math problem, if it's a mechanicking problem, if it's your hot water heater stops working, like if you start to troubleshoot, if you get all freaked out, like make it more dramatic than it has to be. Just think of people you know who might be like that. They don't get a nice calm solution. Thanks, Tressa. Excellent. But if we could just not dumb it down, but like I was saying, sort of like get the weeds out of there, get the fluff out of there, and just focus on just the facts. What was that? There was some show when I was like a kid where the detective would be like, just the facts. Okay. Oh, there's my dog panting again. $10 for main floor seats. Here's how I would change it to algebra. $8 for balcony seats equals the total money that they got, or revenue. I'll use the correct word. Total revenue. Then they also said there were 400 seats. Oh, and you should always put M represents the number of main floor seats. It's worth it to take a minute and do this. The one Lakota value that's the hardest for me that I work on all the time is patience. And I still have to work on it all the time. I'm patient with other people, but with myself or with getting stuff done, I just want to get shit done and just move on, move forward, charge forward. And I should be more patient and set up the problems for myself. Like when you're doing this is the number of, it really helps. Balcony seats. But when I usually, even now with story problems, if I'm doing some for myself or something, I'll just plow right through. There we go. And we know that they told us that there's 400 total and they sold out. So we can put that right in there. And they also told us that the total revenue was $5,200 for this concert. And then the answer is when they asked the question, how many balcony seats were sold? I can already start to put my answer right here. So many balcony seats were sold. And I always encourage students to say, what are we're looking for? Balcony seats. Find the value of B. So once we have all that roadmap on there, I think for me personally, it's much easier to look at and enjoy. So $10 for each main floor seat times 400 seats. So the labels are sometimes tricky for people too. We don't know B yet. And we know we're going to end up with $5,200 here. Careful with our labels still staying on there. And I love teaching story problems and working through them enough that people feel comfortable and confident enough to do them themselves. But I do always tell people that they're always going to get different ones. I mean, that's the nature of the game. That's what can make it fun for a lot of people. But a lot of people hate it because they'll be like, you taught me how to solve that one, but now I don't know the method for this one. So it's always like this general method of lining out here what you know, what you have to find out. We also knew that. Setting it up in algebra language. Because I know if I'm going to a concert and it's $10 a seat, I would multiply 10 by how many seats I was getting. If I'm getting like 8 seats for my family, I know that'd be $80, like a no-brainer. Everybody's like, yeah, I know that. Don't get confused by my B here. It looks like a 6 a little bit. Subtract 4,000 from both sides. Still the dollar sign is on there. Finally, when we divide by the 8 with the dollar sign, if we're real careful like that with the labels, then we could see that the 8s cancel, the dollars cancel, and we end up with 150 with no label on it. It's not dollars, it's number of seats that are sold. So that's how we'd go about that one. I know I talked through that one a long time and that kind of bores some people too, so I apologize. So I won't do, the next one's a little shorter. Same, but the next one's a similar process. So go ahead and I'll write down the information in case you didn't have time to put that down there. This was number 56. And it was $5 for tickets at the gate, $3 for tickets in advance, equals the total revenue that they got for that event. It was a drumline performance. They also tell us that G is number of gate tickets sold. A is number of advance tickets sold. I was about to ramble on about something again too, but no, we need to have our break. And they told us the total revenue was $5,500 for the event. So I'll just put it up there. This goes here. How many advance tickets were sold? So I can write the answer right here with the box. Advance tickets were sold. And that's going to be A, whatever we get for A. And what's the one more thing they told us? Oh, G was, they told us this like as a side thing. There was 800 of those sold, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to solve it with the skills we have so far. 5 times 800 plus $3 times A plus $5,500. So see, I'll pause this and see if anyone, oh, why don't we stop right here? I'll leave this up. You can send me that answer. You might have seen it already when I was showing that screen, but see if you can work through and get that answer for A, and then we'll take a 10-minute break and come back we'll go back over this. So I'll leave this up while I'm looking at the chat. So we will come back at 2:25. Okay. break time. You can take a break and then come back to this problem, or do it and then take a break. It's all good. I'm still right here in my kitchen with my panting dog. He and I are both hoping it won't get much hotter. Oh, Winston. I should show him. I'll put him on my save screen. All right, but I'm just be quiet so you can go. I'm back. Is anyone back yet? Who's got the answer for this one? Want to call it out or send it to me? Some of you did already. Someone could say it out loud. Go ahead.
500.
Good, Shanda. Awesome. Yep, 500. And so, see, I think, well, and when I take language classes too, like I told you all, I'm trying to learn Spanish also. And of course, I want to someday be fluent in Lakota as well. And if I'm trying to answer questions, it helps me if I think of most of the answer already before I know the actual thing to fill in, if that makes any sense. So if I have it all lined up right here, then just put in what A equals, and then we're done. Instead of having to like, sometimes I'll do the algebra. Well, think about it. If you believe in that brain science, that one side of your brain is analytical and one is verbal or spatial, like that, spatial, logical, the different parts of our mind. If we believe that, then you can see why it would be hard to be doing number crunching and then have to talk about it. So if you know any people that are really good at math but can't explain it, that's why, because it's just hard to break down that barrier in our mind to get those gates opened up, stuff flowing through back and forth. And that's why algebra is taught in schools, because not to make everyone miserable and make them feel bad as a gatekeeper and all that other crap, but I really believe it's taught so we can have a more whole way of reasoning in our mind. So we can go from words to pictures to numbers and then explain the process, all that stuff. It's really good stuff. All right, enough talking for me, huh? I almost forgot to do that survey. So I'm gonna open up my other device and turn on the poll. So go ahead and answer the question. If you have a preference, I didn't put an option on there of no preference. Hold on, I have to turn my sound off while it. If I have both devices on at once, the sound does that terrible feedback thing. So I have to quickly turn one off, turn the other on, hope that they're working. Okay, let's see if I can launch the poll. Here it is. Yeah, if you have no preference, I'm sorry. I can edit it. Hang on, I'm gonna add a preference. I'll add. We don't want a midterm at all. No, I'm just kidding. I have to do it. No. But although I have to give a midterm, that's why I have a lot of other assessments, they're called, so you have classwork, participation, extra credits, assignments, group work, quizzes. So we have all the different, not all, but as many different assessments as we can. In my more advanced math classes, we do a final project presentation, and that's fun too. And sometimes we do like an outdoor activity like orienteering with compasses, directional compasses. We do that in trig. There, so I'll just leave this up for a minute or so. If you can answer.
So the quiz we're doing today is on Moodle, or
Yep.
Okay.
It's not there yet, but as soon as I stop the examples, pretty soon, I think, because it's already 2:30. So as soon as I stop giving examples and practice problems, then I'll open up the quiz on Moodle. And then you can either print it or write on it with your device. It depends what kind of device you have, or use your notebook and then just take a picture of your work from your notebook and send that to me. And then you can upload the way, however you did it. You can upload it to Moodle or email it to me. Or sometimes people text it to me. I can't handle that if I have like 100 students in a semester, but this is just a little itty bitty class, so I can handle texted work too, just fine. Oh, good. We've got some 7, 2, 4, 6. There should be 9 people. I haven't heard from everybody yet. 2 more people. I'll wait for. Interesting results. Sometimes I'll show the results too. It doesn't say who said what, but it just shows a little report. You might have done it too. You all have your own Zoom accounts through the college, so you might be able to create polls too. I'm not sure. Has anyone tried to do that in another class? Make their own poll? Or is it just for us instructors? That wonderful treat that we have. All right. Well, I guess, even if I hear from 2 more people, there's still the majority that would be Friday. So Friday it is. Friday's the test. No pressure that way. That's good, because then tomorrow we can even do more practicing and reviewing. And if we have time, we'll start doing the percent section that's not on the midterm. That we will just might start going forward. But oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. All right, I'll stop the poll. Stop the madness. All right, and I can close that. I'm pulling up just a couple more story problems and then we'll stop. Sorry, I finally I was trying to get to the edit button, so it was on its side. So here, let's go to the share photo. You might have to turn on your side and get taco neck for this one. Oh, it's terrible. No, it's okay. You have accepted a job offer at a salary of, so we'll write this down and then go to the whiteboard. 37,120. I don't want to waste your time while I edit the photo. The salary includes a year-end bonus of $2,800. You are paid twice per month. What will your gross pay be for each paycheck? So this one is a little different, see, than the ones that we were doing before. So that's what I mean. And this is why a lot of people in school in K-12 don't like math story problems because there's not just one recipe and there's all the reading. And then some teachers can't teach it very well. You might think I don't teach it very well, and that's okay too. You could have your opinion, but it's a different kind of teaching than the usual just follow the steps and do the problem and check the answer, you know what I mean? So they gave us, the information was your total is $37,120 for the year. That's before taxes and stuff. And it looked like, let me look at that one again, because that one's kind of a funny one, isn't it? A year-end bonus. You're paid twice per month. What will your gross pay be for each paycheck? Yeah, so I picked this one on purpose because it's a little bit confusing because we know the bonus, like when I'm lucky to get a bonus, right? If you get a bonus, it doesn't usually get figured into your bi-monthly pay, right? So you're paid twice a month. How much is in each paycheck before taxes? That's what the gross means. So let's pause the recording and think of, let me put that. The keywords would be paid twice a month. And this is for the year at the end of the year. Yes. And thank goodness someone caught that. Thank you. You caught a mistake I was about to make. I've never done this one before. So good job, Valerie. I'm giving you 3 points. And see how I was starting to say to add this? I wasn't reading the words because this includes, so thank you very much. I was getting the wrong answer. That's why I was pausing. So this 37,120 includes the year-end bonus. So if we want to know just your regular monthly salary paycheck, we're going to take away the bonus. So first subtract the bonus and then divide by, if it's twice a month, that's going to be 2 times 12. So we've got to divide by 24. So yeah, that is subtly tricky. Thank goodness I was saved by a student. So now I'm subtracting by hand. You can use a calculator. You're welcome to use a calculator if anyone wants. I found that if I do it by hand, I know it might be a little slow for some of you, but at least it keeps me from going too fast. So I ended up with $34,320 a year, not including the bonus. Not including the bonus, because they didn't say that the bonus is distributed throughout the year. They just said it's at the end of the year. So I'm going to double check my subtraction and then do a long division. Or use a calculator. So 24 into 34,320. And I ended up with 1,430 before taxes. each paycheck. There we go. Oh, that was a good trick. See, it didn't look like it was gonna be tricky, and then it's a little bit tricky. Sometimes that happens. So that's a good one. And the setup, the keywords. Any questions about that one, anybody? Nice work. Great. Okay, let's see about maybe one or two more. Look. Here, I'm just going to read this one out loud and then I'll write it on the whiteboard. We're going to do this problem. An internship pays $320 per week, plus an additional $75 for training. The total pay for the internship plus the training is $2,635. How many weeks long is the internship? I like that one too. I'm challenging myself, picking some that I haven't done in class before. So it might be a little annoying for you all, but I took this class. This is a quick story, I promise. I moved to Nebraska. I'd already been teaching college in South Carolina. I moved to Nebraska in '98 and went to Chadron State College. We moved to Chadron because of my ex-husband's job. We had 3 kids. I went to Chadron State College and I said, do you guys need a part-time math instructor? And they did. So I was working there part-time right away. And then I wanted to teach school. And so I asked them if I had a certificate to teach long ago in New York City, but it expired because we moved so much. So I went to the education office at Chadron State and I said, what do I need to do to update my certificate to teach here in this state? And the dean of education goes, well, you're going to have to come back to school and do all your undergrad over again. I have a master's degree already from Columbia University. And he's telling me I have to do my whole undergrad over again at Chadron State. And I was like, I teach at Chadron State. What are you even talking about? And he's like, no, he's just kind of a snob. He was. And he, no, you're going to have to do that. That's what you're going to have to do. And I was so mad that I found a workaround. I found out there wasn't much internet yet. So it was harder to find things out if you were new somewhere. But I found a workaround where I could get like a temporary emergency certification. I got a job at Hay Springs High School and I got this temporary certification, but I had to take some classes. So I did end up taking 2 classes from Chadron State, even though I was teaching there. And that was fine. I take classes from OLC all the time. I'm teaching there, no big deal. But I had this great professor there and it was advanced educational psychology. And he said one of the wisest things I'd ever heard. And I was 35 by then. I'd been teaching for more than 10 years already. And he said, we expect in our country anyway, we expect the math teacher to just already show all the steps, already know how to solve a problem and just do it all. And that makes a lot of students feel kind of like dumb, like they can't do it that fast. I've been doing math since what, like 50 years, right? So some people, they feel like they can't do it that fast. The teacher already prepared it. The PowerPoint's already prepared. The textbook already is prepared. So the students never get to see somebody really puzzle through a problem. And that's the really exciting part of math. So when you get into really advanced grad school levels, you all puzzle through it together with the teacher and stuff. But at general education levels, a lot of the time people just think the teachers just like go through the examples and they have all the right answers and they know it all and they and you never get to see them just kind of like wrestle with a problem, hit a dead end, come back, go another direction. But that's what life is really like. And like real math work is like that, like wrestling, figuring it out and all that. So I sometimes come into class without doing the problem ahead of time. Not always, because that would be annoying, but sometimes I do, just so people see like that last problem, that mistake I almost made. That's a common thing that someone else might have done too. So at least you might feel like, oh, Oh, and I'm smarter than this teacher. You are. Okay, so $320 per week. So whenever we see that word per, we stick a variable next to it. It means times the variable. Week W is for the number of weeks. And that's actually what the answer that we're looking for. And then plus just a flat $75. And the total that they got paid was $2,635. And they're asking how many weeks was this training? So I'm pretty sure that setup is correct. Let's double check. Take away 75 from both sides. And then divide by 320. And you get a whole number answer. And you got one answer or two answers already. Good job, folks. Way to hang in there strong. Yeah, I'm not going to put it up any extra assignments. I mean, there's another worksheet posted today, like more worksheet practice problems if you want. But we still have some more examples to go over, like with fractions and stuff. So we'll still just do some more equations tomorrow. And then we'll do the quiz today and no additional homework. I could post some homework though, but it won't be due tomorrow. Subtract 75 from both sides, because that was just like an add-on. So 320W equals, where did it go? Oh, here, 2560. That guy's name, that professor, his name was Professor Rowaton. Sounds a lot like my name. His name was Rowaton, like that. Mine is Rodine, but it looks like similar, doesn't it, Rodine? Maybe that's why I liked him. No. No, he was very wise. I was like, wow, never thought about that. Like, so many times I was afraid when I was a new teacher, I was so afraid my students would find out that I was actually a big dummy, which is silly, but that's like that, what's it called? The imposter syndrome. Because I was really young when I started teaching college, and I was cute, I thought, when I started teaching high school. I was younger than my students in Africa, like really wasn't always so secure. So I'd go in over prepared. And then that professor really taught me that, I mean, it's good to be prepared, of course, but you want your students to realize that you're not perfect either. So we should have, I'm seeing some more answers coming in. 8. Good job. Yep, 8 weeks. 8 weeks. And then you might get a different teacher in the future or see me face to face. And then I would ask for the full sentence. But now on WebAssign, you can't. The training lasted for, oh no, it wasn't the training, it was an internship, right? The training was just one part of it. The internship lasted for 8 weeks. So yeah, normally I'll ask you to write the sentence as well, because if a problem's given to you in words, you want to answer in words. If it's given to you in fractions, answer in fractions, like that. If it's given to you in Spanish, answer in Spanish, if you can. I've said that before, I know, but any questions about that one? All right. And before I start rambling on any further, hey, good job, Shanda. Nice. Before I ramble on any further, I'm going to go into Moodle and open up the quiz. So everybody, you got 1 more hour left of class time, but I made it due tonight at 11. So if you want to rather do it after the kids are in bed, or after you've had your workout, or done some errands, or gone to the doctor, or whatever needs to happen, that's okay. You don't have to stay logged in this time with your camera on for this one. You can, if you want to stay logged in, if you feel less lonely, I'm here. If you feel less like a satellite out in space, here I am. But so I'm just here in my kitchen, and I'll keep my the Zoom on until everybody logs off. But you, like I said, you don't have to stay logged on to take this quiz. I'm just going in right now and opening it up in the Moodle. And then you're off to the races. It's a 20-point quiz. I want you to show all your work. If you want to print out the page and just write on there and scan it back in, you can. But like I said before, you don't have to. You could write it on paper. You could type it in a Word document. I'm just going to put here that it's due at 11 o'clock tonight. And today is the 6th. And I'm putting them, I already put most of the stuff in here. Just making sure it's turned on. Anybody have questions about anything? Show all your work, so even if someone gets a wrong answer, I can give them partial credit too.
You mean to show your work on quiz 2 that we're gonna do today? Okay.
Yep.
And where can we submit our work that we show?
There's a spot there on
In
Moodle
Moodle?
where you just upload wherever you went to print it off from. But if that's hard for anybody, just email it to me or do a Google document share or text it to me, whatever's easiest, okay? Any other questions? Given my last extra credit points here from the chat, and then, all right. Well, turn on your camera if you can, or show an emoji or something if you're leaving, and good luck on your quiz. Have a great afternoon. Bye. Bye, Tommy. Bye, Shanda. Bye, Hannah. See you, Deanna. Bye, Tressa. Bye, Dawn.
I don't know if I found it yet. What is it called again?
It's called Quiz 2, and it's under day 7 on the Moodle.
Day 7 on the middle.
Yeah.
Looking for it. Quiz 2. So I just open up quiz 2 and it should be right there.
Yeah. It'll give you an option to download it. It'll
Okay. Yeah, there it is.
or save it to your device. Yeah, however you want to work on it. See you, Carrie. Bye.
And then I have until 11 tonight.
Yeah,
Is that what you
11.
said?
Mhm.
Okay, and then I could I screenshot, or can I screenshot how I made answered it and everything? I might be able to just submit my answers to it on Moodle and then screenshot how I did them, how I worked them to your
Sure.
email. Is that okay?
Yep, that's fine, Valerie. Sounds good.
Okay, all right then. Thank you.
Okay.